Hello beautiful people, welcome back to LJ videos. Thank you as always for you guys joining me today. So we are in the final 2 videos, thank the Lord. No, I just know it's, you know, continuous videos about the same topic and it can get a little long. So we're actually going to be doing 3 snakes today. We're gonna do Kronk, Adara, and Aro today, and then we'll do the other 2 big guys in another video because I feel like they're a pair. Updating wise, everyone's pretty much doing the same. Barney finally shed, which took forever. Rocket also shed. And news about Chip. So right after I posted, I think it was the previous video. Yes, the previous video that was posted this week on Monday. I told you he didn't prolapse when he used the restroom, but he actually went to the bathroom again and he prolapsed in the process. Now this time I didn't really mess with him at all. I didn't touch the prolapse. I did nothing. I didn't touch it at all with sugar. I didn't do a sugar soak. I actually just left him to deal with it himself. I just made sure to mist down his enclosure because, as you guys know, there is a paper towel in there. And I came back the next day and there was no more prolapse. So he has no prolapse anymore. I'm actually more thrilled that he handled it himself rather than having so much assistance from me. So everyone's doing great. So like I said, we're gonna start with, or we're gonna do the 3 snakes today. We're not gonna have any feeding in here. I figured I'll just talk about them. So this first snake honestly should be the first snake I introduce in this whole reptile like snake introduction, just because she is by far, she's still a favorite. I love them all, but obviously I have favorites. She is the most crucial reptile in this family, and the reason is because she was the first reptile I got that got me into reptiles again. It never stopped, but I didn't have reptiles for a little bit of time, and I finally started getting them again. So this is Adara. So Adara is an Abbott's Okiti corn snake, and just so you understand her name, Abbott's is the gentleman who bred her. It's his last name, Lee Abbott's. He put, you know, his last name in the beginning of that, and then Okiti is the part of Florida where they found them in the wild, and then started a genetic line with that wild locality. So Okiti is that part, and they're beautiful. They have lots of reds and oranges and yellow hints to them. As you can see, she's kind of like a sunset, and the coolest part about them pattern wise is actually their belly. So she has a very, very cool belly that I have not seen on a lot of snakes. It literally is just a checkered, and it gets a little orangier as you get to her base, but I've had her since she was very small. I've had her since she was probably a foot long, maybe. And she's grown quite a bit. She used to be on pinky mice when I first got her, and now she is almost on jumbo mice. She's eating about 2 adult mice every sitting. So she's gotten really big since we've gotten her. And she is one of those snakes that I have never had anybody not like. When I do the educational things for children or just anybody, she is always the first snake I bring out. So if we have anyone who's scared of snakes that comes over to look at all the animals, when I first introduced Jay to all my reptiles, she's the go-to because she's an angel. She's so friendly. My little brother loves her. My mom loves her. I don't even know if I told you her name. Her name's Adara. But she's a hefty girl. She's an amazing eater. She's never turned down food for me. She's always been such a good eater. And like I said, she was the first snake I got back into reptiles. So I did get her from a place called Fins and Skins, which is down here in Tampa, Florida. It was by my old job, and I had gone in there, and when I saw her, I automatically fell in love with her. I did go out looking for a snake, but I didn't know what snake I wanted yet. I figured I would just, you know, I'm one of those in the moment people. When I see it and hold it, I'll see if I fall in love with it or not. So with her, I held her and I immediately was like, this is the one. And my mom was with me. She fell in love with her too. And then I brought her home and I've had her ever since. Most of them I just get from a store or a place, and that's kind of the extent of it. So this is her cage. It is made by Exoterra. It is called, I believe, the wide lows. So they're very short because if you don't know, these snakes are colubrids, which means they do like to burrow in the ground a lot. So they don't really need a lot of climbing space. They will use it occasionally, but they don't really require it. I think more of room ground wise is more important. She really likes her cage. I try to make sure that they're filled with fun things for them to do. I definitely want to upgrade their cages and come up with more stuff to put in there, but here we have her water bowl. Pretty simple. She'll actually, this is one of her favorite spots. You can see there's like a hole under there. She'll burrow under there and sleep under her water bowl. And then we have her little log. This is where I found her just now. This is like a little cork flat. That's where I was talking about she pooped. I have to clean that up. I didn't even see it. And I put it under here because she does have a halogen light up there, which I talked about in a previous video, I believe, on how they do conserve a lot of energy, but they burn at pretty high watts. So this is a 50 watt, I believe, or maybe even a 25 watt. I'm not entirely sure. That way she can sit on here and it gets pretty warm. These are really cool pieces I found that my previous job had. They're fake plants, but they are like little wood pieces. They have caves. She really likes these, and it gives her a lot of places to hide, and she'll fall asleep back there all the time. So her cage is pretty simple. I do have dirt. There's mixed with some sea grape leaves crumbled up, and then there's also some sphagnum moss in here, which kind of helps keep the humidity, and I do spray it down quite often. I would say every other day, just so it doesn't get soaked in there. Obviously Chief is right next to her, in the exact same cage, exact same lighting. Obviously the only difference is there's a much bigger water bowl because he is a rainbow boa. He loves to sit in that corner water bowl, and he's probably gotten it all dirty. Surprisingly not too dirty, but he will literally sleep in here, and he'll just have his nose out. So really the only spots I've ever seen him are either under that half log or in his water bowl. So, and he's under there right now. He's in shed, very deep shed. So snake number 2 is someone you guys have heard a lot about, but you guys haven't necessarily met. So I'm gonna go ahead and get Kronk. Kronk is the one that bit me. He's a little bit of a special guy, but we're gonna get him out because I want you guys to obviously meet him. He is probably my favorite snake, even though he has bitten me. So I got Kronk. He's not too terrible. It's just when I scare him that he gets really defensive, and then that's how I got bit. So I'll back up because he's really long. So Kronk is a Carpondro, which means he is mixed with a Darwin's carpet python and a green tree python. We do have some breeding plans with some friends. If you know about the licensing in Florida, I don't have my class 3 yet, so I'm not physically allowed to sell reptiles, but he will be getting a girlfriend pretty soon, and breeding with her, and they'll have lots of babies, and I might even keep one from the clutch because I've really have enjoyed keeping arboreal snakes, or a arboreal snake, because I only have him. But like I said, he's a lot different. So he does like the height, what I just explained with Adara and Chief's enclosure, about the length and not really height. Exact opposite with him, honestly. He'd rather have a lot more height to explore and to hang out rather than a super long cage where he can just lay down. That's just not his type of cage. So he's been a really rewarding snake to have. I got him from my previous job. As you can see, there's a trend. I get a lot of snakes from my previous job. And he was one of the meaner snakes. So they had his mom at the store before I had worked there, and she sold for a lot of money, 3 grand to be specific. And him, his brother, and his sister were all there. Still, they had the clutch there, and his sister was $400, and she's about twice the thickness of him, but about the same length. And then his other brother was a little bit more defensive than him, and then there was him. And once I was there working with all these snakes every single day, and getting used to how to handle them when they're aggressive or defensive, I started to find a lot more interest in the defensive snakes. So I started to work with them, and he was one of the first ones I really chose to work with, that I really fell in love with, just because he's so different. And he is the most expensive snake I've ever purchased. He's grown a lot since I've gotten him, to be honest. He Used to be, I would say, he's so weird, you see? Like, he just doesn't know how to be handled. But I think when we got him, he was around like 3 feet, and now I would say he's probably 4, maybe 4.5 feet. He's gotten pretty long. And he's only bitten me the one time, which was recently. It was within the last week, and it was completely my fault. I don't blame him at all for biting me. I'm not mad at him or like hate him. I literally just, he's still my favorite snake. I want to get closer. I just know he's gonna be all over the place. Jay doesn't like to handle him because he doesn't really trust him. As you can see, he's a lot more like wormy. He doesn't really hang on to you like Adara does or the ball pythons do. He just lets himself completely go, and you have to support him. But I've always wanted a carpet python, so to have him is honestly a dream, which I think is why he's one of my favorite snakes and why I'm so like happy to have him, because he's just the most different snake we have. Sure, he's not the biggest, and I love big snakes, but he's just such a different pattern, such a different face, such a different attitude, such a different enclosure. Like, he's just very different from every other snake we own, which I really, really like. His brother did get adopted a little bit after I bought him. A girl bought him for her boyfriend, and he was there his whole life and nobody would touch him because he was mean. So it really meant a lot to me to be able to take him out of my job. You know, it's not that it was a terrible place, but I feel like he definitely gets treated better here. He gets fed bigger meals, he gets more handling, he has a bigger enclosure. So I'm just proud to have him as my boy, and I love his name. Cronky boy. Cronk. I love that name, guys. I don't know why. Kronk's New Groove, maybe? Who knows? So now that I basically just gave you a rundown of him, like I said, there's nothing crazy about them. It's pretty simple where I get them from. But I want to show you his cage because I really like his cage. It's a very different style of cage than others I've seen. See, he's so weird. Like, I don't even see people's like green tree pythons do this. And he's just a dweeb. He's so weird. Okay. So here's his enclosure. Like I said, it's a lot different from all the others. And I'll kind of explain how I made it once I get him in here because it's very hard to handle him with one hand. This is actually a PVC pipe we bought from Home Depot, and we actually just took the typical carpet that you buy for bearded dragons and I glued it onto the PVC pipe, so it just gave a little bit more texture. It didn't look like just a PVC pipe and was ugly. It just blended in better. And then we got these little pieces from Home Depot as well. I'm not really sure what their purpose is, but we used super glue, made sure it dried all the way, of course, to attach it to the glass. And then we took your normal just glue, suction cup vines. We just wrapped them around just to give them, like I said, a more fulfilling look. And then obviously his water bowl. He's got the same substrate as Adara. And then we have this beloved cork ground. This is like his favorite thing in the world. He sleeps in here all the time, and he will sit on top of it, he will sit in it, really whatever he wants to do, he'll do, and he really likes this cage, I feel. I feel like he's gotten a lot of good use out of it. He's definitely gonna need an upgrade pretty soon. He's getting very big, but this could always be passed down to the other babies, his children, when I get one, and then I just get him a larger one. Same light as Adara. Since it is close, he can get a lot of heat. It is very warm there right now. But yeah, it's not, like I said, a very crazy cage. The only thing that I really like that this cage is so different is, number one, it has the sliding glass doors, which most enclosures do not have. Wrong door. So this kind of locks in place. And what else is really cool is that this little line right here is on the inside. It's a film, and it actually is, you can fill it up with water all the way up to here, which we did try doing, but it just didn't work out because just maintenance wise, if he pooped in it, it's a real pain in the ass to drain it and clean it and all that stuff. So we just decided with the water bowl itself, but it does hold water. So if you're doing something like a garter snake or something really cool that does like water a lot, or even like a green tree python or an emerald tree boa, obviously with the bigger size of this style, you could do a lot of fun stuff with it and become really creative and things like that. So I love his cage. I love how it's turned out. It's offered him great use. Like I said, he's much bigger than when I got him, so he's outgrowing it. We're definitely gonna get him a bigger one once this craziness with Corona settles down and everyone's able to work again and make a good income. The guy behind me is going to be the last guy, which is Aro himself. Aro's what I would say is another favorite in the household. He's definitely my favorite snake. Aro and Kronk are up there tied for me. Like I said, I do love all my snakes, but I can't help but pick favorites. My favorite snake is either Aro or Kronk. My favorite reptile overall is more than likely Dart, because I've always wanted a tegu. But I have love in my heart for all of them. Obviously, they're all my children. They're all my little babies. So Aro, if you haven't seen him before, is the largest snake I own. He used to be smaller than the other two, but he just skyrocketed. And I didn't really tell you guys what size food Kronk was eating. He's eating small rats. And like I said, I'm pretty sure I've said it, or if you haven't noticed by now, I do not feed live to any of my snakes or any of my reptiles at all. The only live thing I feed is bugs. But rodent wise, I won't do anything live just because I have rats too, and I love all animals, and there's no point to me in making the animals suffer just for my enjoyment. The snakes don't care, same nutritional value, and most of the times frozen's cheaper anyways, and you can stock up. Getting back to Aro, he eats jumbo rats, which is the biggest meal out of all the snakes. Even though Phoenix and Axel, which are right above him, do eat the same size rat, Aro is outgrowing the jumbo rats. I honestly think he's going to be moving to guinea pigs really soon, which I'm okay with. I don't mind feeding them whatever they need to be fed. I want retics eventually once I move out of Florida, so we'll be able to feed them rabbits and pigs and things, but they just have to be frozen. That's all I care about. And I think Aro's so special to me because he was my first boa I ever bought. Obviously we have Chief and Sally and Phoenix and Axel, but those are really our only boas. And I've always loved big snakes, and obviously, like I said, in Florida you can't have retics or Burmese. So the closest thing I can get to a big snake would be a red-tailed boa or like a Dumerals boa, but Dumerals grow over a long period of time where these guys get bigger faster. So I'll post a picture right here of Aro when I first got him. You can see he's a beautiful snake. The woman I got him from, I found him on Craigslist actually. I've had him for over 2 years now, and he has grown insanely since I've gotten him. A couple people that we've gotten our snakes from we've kept up with, like Chief's previous owner. We still keep in contact with her and we'll send her pictures every once in a while, and she's amazed by how big he's gotten. But unfortunately, Aro's old owner, I don't think I have her number anymore, so I would love to share pictures with her, but I don't think, like I said, I have her number. And he was in a Tupperware bin. This was actually his enclosure at the time. This is now his feeding bin, but this was his enclosure at the time. This is what he was living in full time, and he had a little plant heat mat, which we actually now use for our cats, on the bottom, and that was the way he got heat. And when I got him, I did leave him in that for a little bit, but then he quickly outgrew it, so we got him a bigger enclosure, and now he's in this. Which he's absolutely loving this enclosure. He needs a bigger cage too. Once I separate him, Phoenix and Axel will be separated because right now they're together. But he's going to be the first one more than likely to get a new cage because he is growing so fast, and I think he will get a little bit bigger and probably stick with guinea pigs. So enough of me talking about him. I will talk a little bit more about him, but I'm gonna get him out. Okay. He is big. I was not kidding with you when I told you he was a big snake. So this is Aro. Aro, like I said, is a red-tailed boa. He's probably around 20 pounds, I would say, 15, 20 pounds. And he has only bitten us once, and it was actually Jay that got bit. He was driving in the car on our way to our jobs at the time, and I think he might have pinched his tail or been blowing in his face or something that Aro didn't like but could not obviously communicate to stop, so he bit him right here in the mouth. Jay didn't say it hurt very much, but I was definitely worried when I got the call that my big 6-foot boa had bit him in the face. But like I was saying before, once we got him, he became kind of the advocate. We started bringing him to the mall a lot because he's a big snake with, you know, things like, if we took Adara, you know, she is a great snake to bring because she's so friendly, but people don't see her. And I don't want to stop people and say, hey, do you want to see her snake? I want it to be like they stop me and ask, because that was kind of the point. And then once they'd ask, we'd talk, because that's the whole reason we were there, was to just teach people and show people how cool snakes are. So he's just, you know, you can't miss him because he's so big, and people really loved him and they would hold him and take pictures with him and everything. So he became one of those snakes that was really rewarding to own, and him as well as Adara are the dynamic duo for teaching kids and going to those Great American Teach-Ins and things like that. He has always gone to every single one I've gone to because, like I said, he's huge. I trust him. He's very friendly. Some cool things about him that I'll show you is he's got a mustache. He's got the Monopoly Man mustache. So now you can see kind of his size, and his patterns are amazing. You can see the beautiful like spots he has. And he did not have these when I first got him. He actually developed these over some time. As he sheds, he gets more and more spots. And his saddles are just amazing, which are these parts right here, these little, he's grabbing my camera back. No! And then of course he has his beautiful signature red tail, and it gets such a pretty color of red down here. I love it, and he's got such a thick tail. He's my family's favorite too. I just love, like I said, I just love everything about him. He's gorgeous, he's so friendly, and he's a big boy, and I like the big snakes. I don't think Rango is very happy with me that I'm letting him. He's so annoyed. He's like, are you kidding me, man? He's not having it. That's pretty much all about Aro that I have. There's not a crazy amount I have with him, but I did want to show him because he's one of my favorites, and I love him with all my heart. I will give you a little cage tour real quick. So this is Aro's enclosure, and I've kind of explained why we have Aspen previously. So I don't like Aspen very much, but I actually only have it. Goodness gracious, he's falling and climbing all over me, and holy majoli. Here, go in there. This enclosure we actually got off of Craigslist when we got Phoenix and Axel, which are the other two snakes that you will meet in the next video. They had this enclosure built by his father to house the two snakes, obviously one in each one. There's two snakes up in this one. And it's because it's all wood, it cannot have water in it, so we can't mist them down. So even if I had something that held humidity, I don't want the wood to warp, or I don't want anything like that to happen. So the Aspen just gives them something cushiony to lay on, and does a great job. So, and they shed fully in pieces and never have a single problem. So if they were to have a problem, I would definitely reconsider changing the bedding, but right now they're having zero issues. And because he's my favorite snake, I gave him my favorite piece. I love that tree piece. I actually got it from my old job. When somebody turned in or surrendered their bearded dragon, they had that in their enclosure. And I asked my boss if I could have it. She said yes, because there's no cages big enough for them to put it in. And I have found great use for it. I come in here and he's laid out right on the top branches, looking at me, and it's super cool to see him in there. And then obviously he's got the really big water bowl that he can climb in if he needs to, and everything like that. But he's a really friendly boy. And then if you're wondering about heating, there is heat cable down here underneath this part. You can't really see it, I don't think. Maybe you can. Oh yeah, there it is. So the heat cable's under there, and that's what keeps it warm. You can feel it through the floor, and he'll just sit on there if he wants to get warm. And then we have the LED lights up here. But I love this enclosure. I think it's been put to great use. But I think that's honestly everything. I introduced Adara, I introduced Kronk finally, and I introduced Aro. This was honestly the top 3 favorites of my snakes, I would say, in one video. Obviously Adara being the first snake I got in a while, or first snake that got me back into reptiles, and then Kronk with being arboreal, and just everything about him, and then Aro being the biggest snake we own and the first boa I owned myself. So you definitely met some crucial members to the family today, and I'm glad you guys came back into my channel to meet them. You guys are going to be meeting the last 2 of the 15 snakes we have here in the reptile family, which is going to be Axel and Phoenix. They are both boas as well, and they are big. That kind of concludes the video for today, but I just wanted to say thank you for stopping by. Thank you for watching my videos every time I post. I think this is like video number 12. So we're chugging along, we're getting on that groove train, we're moving along. Like I said, pretty soon, once all this stuff calms down, we'll be able to go to the park and bring the reptiles. I definitely do have a lot of cool ideas lined up for just this channel and just all my animals and you guys, and it'll be really fun. So I'm excited for Corona to be done so we can keep chugging along with all this fun stuff. If you enjoyed the video, please go ahead and hit that like button, and if you want to see when I post, you can hit the notification bell, and it'll alert you and let you know. And then if you have any comments, questions, concerns, whatever in the world it could possibly be, drop that comment down below along with your suggestion for my videos. And most of all, if you really enjoy my videos and you love all of them and just joining me on this journey of craziness, because there's a lot going on in this house, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. That would mean the world to me. I would really appreciate it. And as always, stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.